Who will have the more productive season? Will it be Brew McCoy or Dante Thornton at wide receiver? Caleb, I love the way your brain thinks. So I'm just giving you that question. You could say catches, you could say yards, you could say blocking downfield theoretically. I'm going to give you first crack at it because I feel very strong about one. And yes, Teddy, Caleb is a worrywart, but so am I.
Dave, just to correct you, you don't love the way my brain thinks. You love the way I think. The brain doesn't think. The brain is the vessel for the human to think. I'm sorry. I'm just being a total douche. Sorry about
Brain
that.
should have thought, let's not slow us down.
Okay, so I just wanted to mess with you on that. I am still going Brew McCoy. I think Dante Thornton, I think there was a lot of testing going on in that game on Saturday. I think Brew McCoy was just getting back from injury. I think long-term, Brew McCoy will be the more productive receiver by the end of the year. I mean, I'm seeing All-American potential with Brew McCoy.
Okay. Well, then let me ask you this. Most receptions.
Most receptions.
This
I'm even more bullish on Brew McCoy for more receptions. He's easily going to have the most receptions.
Okay. I tend to agree with that. Most yards.
See, between Brew and Dante, it's Brew McCoy.
I disagree. I think Dante will get enough of an opportunity, and with his speed and with what he's asked to do, Dante will have more receiving yards at the end of the season, and he'll have more big plays. I think he's going to be kind of like a Jalen Hyatt impact player from the outside receiver, not the slot receiver, because of his speed. Now, Daniel says most productive Dante, most important Brew. So you're going with Brew, correct?
Correct. I'm going with Brew.
Okay, Caleb. So the answer to this question really doesn't involve either of these receivers. It's Chris Brazzell. And we saw a little bit of him. We saw a glimpse as they tried to connect with him. The question is, who does he more easily replace if somebody had to miss a game for whatever reason? I think he more easily replaces Brew. So I'm not predicting an injury, but I think that Dante is going to be the guy that's going to be out there more because he wants to learn the system. So while you would pull typically most people at the same time, there could be a situation in which Tennessee plays 4 games in a row and it's a blowout. Bruce says, ankle's a little sore. It's been a long year, but Dante could stay in there. So I'm going with Dante Thornton as being the most productive. Now, Daniel says most important. Did you see those guys block downfield? First of all, Brew's the best at it, and he inspired all others to do so. So, Daniel, you're right. Most important is Brew.
Here's why Dante won't outproduce Brew. Because when Brew dictates the coverage that we talk about and does the downfield blocking as the physical receiver, that cleared things for Thornton on the opposite side this game. It's going to clear things for Squirrel White most of the year. So you would have me if you were going to ask Squirrel White or Brew McCoy, because I actually might say Squirrel White will have more yards. I can't throughout the course of the season give you Dante Thornton, though, because what the way the flow of the game is dictated, it's going to result in the slot guy getting more of the touches in.
Right. Well, you broke up a little bit there, Caleb. I think you bring up Squirrel White, and I brought up Brazzell. That just tells you right there that, I mean, Tennessee has 4 solid wide receivers, and I believe actually more, Nimrod in particular, and I feel like I'm forgetting something off the top of my head. I said leading into the season that Tennessee had 6 wide receivers that could play, and I was interested to see if that would be the situation. That I thought there was a chance that Josh Heupel might actually replace 3 wide receivers in between series. We'll get Caleb right back, but that didn't happen. Now, I want to remind everybody that we have our last look show, and that'll be the last look, a post-game show each and every game after, right when it hits zeros, because I was nice enough to be reminded on the message board. Some people don't know that. So if you hit the like and subscribe button plus that notification bell, then you will be taken care of when we go live after the game. And I think we had something like 10,000 views. So we appreciate you guys. Without you, this doesn't happen. So thank you. We are very blessed. Hit the like and subscribe button. So you were talking about Squirrel. It wouldn't completely surprise me. I don't think Squirrel is as physically gifted as Jalen Hyatt. I think they're both ultra fast, but Jalen Hyatt's a bigger target. It wouldn't stun me if Tennessee went back. I think this is what they showed Chattanooga to show NC State, Caleb. I have a theory I'm going to throw out there since we're talking about receivers, and you can call me crazy if you want to. I have a theory that they showed a lot of Dante, a lot of outside wide receiver play, and then they can bring in a Squirrel and do what they did in 2022 based off of what Jalen Hyatt was able to do. So I think this offense continues to evolve. And don't forget about Ethan Davis. So I asked you on the message board, who was your greatest surprise? And that'll be today's tough question as we set that up next. Also, a little bit later on the program, we'll have our SEC power rankings, the stat of the day, and Tennessee is a 5.5-point favorite versus NC State. Originally, that line already moved 2 points to 7.5. Let's see if we got Caleb back. We got Caleb back?
Yes, we're back. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
So
guys.
Squirrel, don't be sorry. Blame it on one of those tech guys that take credit for everything, even though they say build the iPhone. That's what they do. They don't actually build it themselves. All right, so Caleb, but the fact that we're bringing up that many receivers, this is exactly what Josh Heupel had been shooting for in 2024. He may fall, as far as a roster, he may fall a little short in the secondary. We don't know yet, okay? But this is the roster he wanted to build. And I think part of that is bringing in all those receivers. Now, he didn't bring 6 receivers in that were ready to play, which they have, just because somebody might get injured, and it's happened in the past. I think there's other motivation there. So I think you got maybe bumped off a little bit, but I was asking you, could you see a situation in which you show Chattanooga for NC State the outside receiver look, and then they go back to what they did in 2022, and Squirrel White has a huge monstrous game against NC State? As a matter of fact, I'll go out on a limb and predict Squirrel White, other than Nico, is the offensive MVP on Saturday against the Wolfpack.
Oh, yeah, I could absolutely see that. And I mean, this is where I was from the start, guys, I'm the one who said Squirrel White has a very good chance at winning the Biletnikoff Award this year. And it's no different than what you saw with Brew McCoy and Jalen Hyatt 2 years ago, right? Where, let me ask you this question, Dave, and this is going to be a crazy one. Jalen Hyatt won the Biletnikoff Award in 2022. You're going into 2022, knowing what you know now, and you are saying you're Josh Heupel. You're running Tennessee. Someone tells you have to repeat what you did in 2022 with the same roster, but you got to get rid of Brew McCoy or Jalen Hyatt. Who are you getting rid of?
In 2022, I think that's a great. If you had to get rid of one, I think you would have gotten rid of Jalen Hyatt, but you wouldn't have had that. That sounds crazy to talk about the Biletnikoff Award winner. But again, I talked to multiple people in the NFL that said Brew is the one that's moving coverage around because they're concerned about his physical ability and the lack of ability to press him on the line. By the way, who's excited about seeing Brew McCoy going against is it Malachi Moore at Georgia, the cornerback? Oh, wow. That may be the matchup of the year. Those two guys going at it. I may not even watch the ball. I may just watch that. But sorry, that was a reason Tennessee lost to Georgia 2 years ago. I think Cedric Tillman came back, and for seniority, he was the number one receiver. Let's be honest. Brew McCoy could have beaten those defensive backs better than Cedric Tillman did. Let's call it what it is. And I mean, Brew McCoy was more important to the offense in 2022 than Jalen Hyatt was. Y'all can call me crazy on that, but Jalen Hyatt, I'm with you. Brew McCoy's play was what cleared the field for Jalen Hyatt. And here was the thing.
In 2022, we saw Squirrel White come in and play a lot of mop-up duty, and he would have these bombs that he would catch from Joe Milton. And we thought, oh, maybe Joe Milton Squirrel White will be a thing in 2023. Maybe it'll work out. What we didn't realize was they were keeping Brew McCoy in the game because they weren't that deep at receiver that year, if you remember. So Brew McCoy was staying in the game and clearing the field for Squirrel White. Last year, Squirrel White was Tennessee's top receiver, but wasn't catching those bombs. Brew McCoy goes down in week 5 with a broken leg. You noticed the difference. And guys, I'm telling you, this is why it won't be Dante Thornton, because Dante Thornton will be splitting time with Chris Brazel and other wideouts. Brew McCoy is going to be the guy that when they need to, they're keeping him in the game. That means they're going to throw it to him every time. But Brew McCoy is the one receiver that changes coverage on this roster right now. I think Mike Matthews will be that, but he seems like the odd man out at the moment.
He might be.